Hey y'all, I'm in the kitchen today and I'm going to be making a recipe that actually came from my former mother-in-law who is now deceased. Her name was Doris, or the children called her Nene. It's called Chow Chow. Now Doris was from northern Louisiana. She was from the Shreveport-Benton area of Louisiana, so her recipe, in my opinion, is more reflective of a northern Louisiana dish rather than the spicier Cajun you might experience in the south of Louisiana. So this time I don't have any green tomatoes to make this chow chow, which, in case y'all don't know, is like a pickled cabbage relish. I don't have any green tomatoes, so I'm going to be substituting tomatillos, which is a like Mexican green tomato. You've probably seen them in stores and didn't even pay attention to what they were, but they are the closest you can get to green tomatoes. And I'll also toss in some red tomatoes as well. But I'll show you the whole recipe, and I've reduced her recipe down to a smaller batch for us because we don't need 5 years worth of chow chow. So let's get started on making this relish. All right, I'm going to read off Nene's recipe to you. It says 3 large cabbage chopped fine, 12 large onions chopped, 12 chopped bell peppers, 12 large green tomatoes chopped, a 1/4 cup of salt, 5 cups of sugar, 4 tablespoons of mustard seed, 4 tablespoons of ground mustard, 1 tablespoon of whole pickling spice, 1 tablespoon of ground ginger, a tablespoon of turmeric, 2 tablespoons of celery seed, chopped hot peppers to taste, and 3 quarts of white vinegar. Her recipe says this makes about 12 quarts. So, and then I took her recipe and went on a website where you can make it, you can reduce it. And I'm only using 1 cabbage and then 4 onions, 4 green tomatoes. I forgot to put bell peppers, but there they are, 4 bell peppers. And then the salt, blah, blah, blah. So I just reduced her recipe to make it more for our small family. For those of you that don't know what tomatillos are, this is them. You just have a little thing on the outside. Kind of hard to do one-handed, but you just peel it off. And you're left with what looks like a green tomato. So this is what I'm using today. So I told myself I was not going to make y'all watch me chop up a bunch of vegetables, because let's face it, that is boring. Everyone knows how to chop up vegetables. But I am going to show you on a couple of these tomatoes that I'm about to wash, the tomatillos, how you take off the outside. None of these are ever the same size. They're all various sizes. So when I say use 4 tomatoes or 4 tomatillos, I'm actually going to use a few more, because as you can see the difference between this one and this one. Some of them you would need 3 or 4 of these to make up one of these. So I'm just going to go ahead and peel a few of these, and then I'm going to get them washed and move on to my next step. These do not taste exactly like green tomatoes, but it's close enough that you can substitute with these. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do one more to call it 4 green tomatoes. Alright, I'm going to get these washed. So one of the things I do is I wash my vegetables in vinegar, some vinegar and water. This is mostly water, but probably about a 1/4 cup of vinegar to get anything on there that might be lingering. And now I'm going to get these chopped up. All right, like I said, I'm not going to make y'all sit here and watch me chop up a bunch of vegetables. So I'm going to get these all chopped up and into my big pan, my big pot, and then I will be back. And there is one chopped head of cabbage. And here it is with the tomatillos and one red tomato. Based on the color, which I like, I'm probably going to add one more tomato. And no, we didn't take the seeds out because I know someone is inevitably going to ask in the comments section. We're not worried we're going to die over seeds. We like to eat our seeds too. Doris's recipe says to use peppers to taste. I'm going to be using 5 jalapeno peppers. And first thing to do is to get them clean, get them washed. All right. Now we've added the jalapenos, and I'm going to move on to the onions. All right, the onions are now in there. I was kind of giving it a little bit of a stir, but so far so good. Now let's move on to bell peppers. All right, I now have all of the vegetables in there, and now I'm going to add the quart of vinegar that her recipe requires. To me, it doesn't seem like enough liquid, and I haven't made this recipe in probably 8 or 9 years, maybe even 10. So I may have changed it up a little bit, but we're going to keep moving forward, and if I need to make adjustments in a little bit, then I will. All right, I'm going to put this on the back burner, and I'm going to get it started warming up since I've got my liquid in there. And now I'm going to start adding all of my seasonings. All right, so we're going to do 1 2/3 cup of sugar. That's 1 2/3. 1 tablespoon and 1 teaspoon of mustard seed. This is also a tablespoon and a teaspoon of the ground mustard, which doesn't fit in the container. There we go. 1 teaspoon of pickling spice. This one is the Ball mixed pickling spice. A teaspoon of ground ginger. And a teaspoon of turmeric. 2 teaspoons of celery seed. 1, 2, and a 1/3 cup of kosher salt. There we go. Now Doris's recipe, Nene's recipe, says to simmer until well done. So I'm going to go ahead and put my lid on here after I've gotten it all stirred up, and I'm going to let it simmer, which it's not simmering yet, of course, but I'm going to let it simmer for a while. And not sure what she considered well done, but we'll call it till the cabbage is limp. Till the vegetables are kind of limp, we'll call it. So anyway, I'm going to get a lid on here, and I will be back in a little while. Okay, well, I did let it simmer for an hour, and now I'm going to get it put into my sterilized jars. Then we're going to put this in a water bath canner. So let's get these put into jars. Now, if you don't really like spicy things, then I suggest you leave the jalapenos out of this recipe, or maybe just do 1 or 2 jalapenos, because this can be spicy, a little too spicy for some people. As with a lot of things, it's all up to your taste and what you like and your tolerance for heat. Hey Google, stop. If you like it spicy, this is pretty spicy with the 5 jalapenos I put in there, but if you like it super spicy, you might want to put more or add some red pepper flakes. That's up to you. Like I said in the beginning, I reduced this recipe because I didn't need 5-year supply of Chow Chow. But if you want to make the full recipe, I am going to put that at the end, and you can pause it and write that down if you want. And I'll put the recipe that I used in the description. I think it's important that we preserve some of these recipes from our elders. I don't actually know if anyone else in the family saved her recipe. I may be the only person that still had her recipe. But now it'll be out on the internet, so if my children or grandchildren or any of the other children in the family want to make Nene's Chow Chow, they can access the video and make it themselves. I'm going to leave a 1/2 inch headspace. It's like a salsa. So you have a Mexican salsa, then you've got kimchi for Koreans. This is just the Louisiana version or the southern version of a relish or a salsa. This does have a sweet and sour flavor to it, so it's tangy, but it's also sweet. Now I'm going to take some vinegar and wipe the rim. You can use plain water if you want. I don't really care. I'm not getting into that argument. Just wipe the rim real good so that the lids seal. Made a mess with this one. It's going to take 2 paper towels. I notice a lot of people have been saying their jars are not sealing lately, and I suspect that's because people have stopped sterilizing their rings, lids, and jars. They've decided to do them in the dishwasher and all kinds of craziness to me. So if you're having a problem with everything sealing, I suggest you go back to the old-fashioned method of sterilizing everything, keeping it in hot water, because apparently this new method is not working. Sorry guys. I never tried it myself, because why fix what isn't broken? But anyway. Y'all do you, it's your kitchen. Just saying. Alright. Gonna get the lids and rings on these and get these into the water bath. If you're reusing a jar and using a lug lid, I do put these on a lot tighter. These are finger tight. These I do a lot tighter. All right, they are in the pot. Water up over the top, lest someone says something to me. And I'm going to water bath these for 10 minutes. And your timer starts once the water is at a rolling boil. So, you know, it's actually more than 10 minutes. I don't want anyone out there to think that you stick it in the pot and do it for 10 minutes. No, it's 10 minutes once the water is at a rolling boil. So I'll be back when that's done. All right, it's been 10 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and take these out and get the next batch in. And I'll be back to show you my finished jars. There you go. Those 6 jars and this jar, which will go in the fridge. I'll let Tommy try it in just a little while. All right, Tommy's trying it for the first time.
What is it?
Chow Chow. You tell me what it is. You can put it on stuff. Can you tell what's in it?
It tastes like it's a relish.
So what would it be good on?
Putting it on brats, hot dogs, hamburgers, pretty much just about anything that you would put a relish or a pickle on.
Right. Have you made it to the jalapenos yet? Is it too spicy?
Mm-mm.
Can you taste the cabbage?
Mm-hmm.
Are there flavors you can't identify?
No, I'm identifying them. It's kind of like the habanero raspberry jam like you made, except for more picklish. You can taste a little bit of pepper of the jalapeno, but you get more of a relish taste than anything.
Does it taste mustardy?
A little bit. Not bad.
Would you eat it?
Mm-hmm.
Like on hot dogs?
Oh yeah.
Good, because we're having hot dogs tonight.
Cool. One of my favorites.
So that's how you make chow chow. I'm now ready to go put my feet up and have a nice glass of iced tea. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoy Nene's recipe.